Museum is a place where time does not matter. Looking at the artifacts, we are experiencing the most vivid and exciting moments of history. The program Secrets of Museums on Kazakh TV channel. On December 16, 1991, the constitutional law on the independence of the Republic of Kazakhstan was adopted. A new sovereign state was formed. The country had to undergo large-scale transformations and firmly entrench in the global community. Milestones of formation of sovereign Kazakhstan can be seen in the exhibits that are kept in Astana in the Museum of the First President. The entire exposition of the museum reflects the political and social reforms, the country's integration into the world community, economic and cultural transformations, and reveals the historical role of the President Nursultan Nazarbayev in the establishment of the independent state. On December 1, 1991, Kazakhstan had held the first general elections of the president, where Nursultan Nazarbayev has received the support of more than 98% of voters. On December 10, the ceremony of inauguration of the president and the solemn oath had been held. On December 16, 1991, the law on the state independence has been adopted and the country was renamed to the Republic of Kazakhstan. The museum's exposition dedicated to the formation of statehood represents the historical documents and archival materials that tell about the main stages of development of Kazakhstan. The sculptured composition Monument of Independence has become the unofficial symbol of a sovereign state. The monument was opened on the Republic Square on December 16, 1996 by the decree of the Kazakh president. Honored architect of the country Shota Valikhanov was elected the chief of the authors group of the creation of the Monument of Independence. The center of the composition has a vertical stele and ends with a golden man, the ruler who governs standing with winged leopard and symbolizes the solid state power in the Kazakh land. The bronze book with the imprint of the president's palm became the part of the composition. It is symbolic that the establishment of Kazakhstan's sovereignty started from the space. On October 2, 1991, the first Kazakh cosmonaut flew into orbit within the crew of Soyuz TM-13 spacecraft. Before the start, on the cosmodrome, Nursultan Nazarbayev for the first time received a report of the cosmonaut Tokhtar Aubakirov in the Kazakh language. This is the glove of the first Kazakh cosmonaut, whose spaceflight opened a new page in the history of Kazakhstan, bringing us closer to the heights of space. State symbols constitute the basis of the sovereignty. The new symbols should reflect the image of independence and the basic principles of political and social order. Also in 1991, the emblem, flag and anthem of Kazakhstan were established. These three symbols correspond to the basic law of the state, the Constitution. Also, the state symbols include national currency of Kazakhstan. The Book of Honorable Guests of Banknote Factory has a record made by the President of Kazakhstan on the day of its opening, which tells vivid manifestation of the economic independence of our country is the tenge. Let it serve for the benefit of our people and our future generations. The story of tenge began in July 1993, after Russia introduced its own national currency, notifying Kazakhstan only for 3 days before this event. Prices became extremely high. Soviet banknotes of old model were mostly used in the country. Goods have been sold instantly from store shelves. Explanations of the Kazakh president on television and radio before the start of the monetary reform calmed Kazakhstan's residents. According to the decree of the president, new currency was introduced in the country. Exchange started on November 15 and ended with the accession of tenge on November 20, 1993. It was a record period that have been repeatedly stressed by the leaders of other countries. Of course, the Kazakh national currency had its predecessors. The Great Silk Road helped to discover many goods and ideas between the East and the West, and played a major role in the economic development of many countries. Chinese Buddhist Xuanzang in the year 640 made a record that 27 properties dependent from the Turks use in trade their own gold and silver coins. Such cities of Kazakhstan as Otrar and Taraz can claim to be the first cities to have begun to mint its own coins in the 13th century. Now, at the end of the 20th century, Kazakhstan has to rediscover its own mint. Our country at once abandoned the introduction of temporary transitional banknotes, as some of the states of the former USSR did. Coupons in Georgia, Belarusian banknotes, and the Ukrainian karbovanets were similar to candy wrappers. The people did not trust these currencies. The management of Kazakhstan was ready to introduce a complete national currency. A year earlier, in 1992, a special group of designers have already developed sketches of the first Kazakhstan banknotes. Until 1992, the artist Mandabai Aylin, with his friend Agim Duzelhanov, had been learning the basics of the publishing business. After knowing about the competition for the creation of the national currency, the partners have suspended business and sketched a few designs. Soon the artists had a phone call. They were informed that one of the sketches was accepted and offered to join the group on the development of banknotes design. Besides Aylin and Duzelhanov, the group included Timur Suleymanov and Hayrullah Gabjalilov. Only the top management of the country, no more than 8 people, knew about the introduction of the new currency. To avoid information leak, the artists were accommodated at the Sovminovskaya country house, where they spent 2.5 months. Initially, the idea was to do something similar to the dollar. Everybody liked it. But the artists began to look their own way. At that time, there were no computers. They used only pencils, watercolor. Artists decided to choose the portraits of the great ancestors for banknotes design. But then everyone realized the difficulty of this task. The list of historical figures worthy of attention was large enough, starting from Attila till folk artists. But the problem was that no one knew how these great people looked. Until the 19th century, there were no photos in Kazakhstan, and the artists began to search for all kinds of images in different libraries. The images of Abul Khair Khan and Ablai Khan were found in the sketches of the English and Russian travelers. Someone's images were restored from engravings. Rare photographs of other prominent figures were found in the preserved archives. There was much debate on the name of the new currency. Some supported the name Aksha, because in the Kazakh language it means money. But the idea to title our currency as tenge prevailed. This is the historical Turkic name that was widely used during the Middle Ages. It originates from the Russian word dengi. The company Harrison & Sons in England stamped bills, although this company has been producing banknotes for 400 years. Kazakhstan's order brought the company worldwide fame and a special award, the Golden Sign of the Queen of England. Still, the shield with tenge image is hanging in the company's office. During the week, money from London transported to Uralsk on 4 planes. In general, 18 flights have been made. All this work had been implemented in the strictest secrecy. The first batch of tenge had been stored in special underground warehouses. Then, the money from these stores had been delivered to Kazakhstan's all banks. Previously, there was no country to carry out such an operation as quickly as possible and successfully. In order for the country to provide itself with paper currency, it was decided to create a banknote factory in Almaty. This decision was made in May 1992 and was registered in the presidential decree on establishment of the printing factory of the National Bank of the Republic of Kazakhstan. And already in May 1995, the banknote factory started its work. Almost at the same time with the establishment of banknotes, preparations began for the release of the first Kazakh coins. 2 painters, Viktor Ivzhenko and Ayrat Ismambetov, were responsible for their development. They were sent to the same country house where the designers of banknotes worked. Soon the 2 artists of 2 workshops were jokingly called as paper makers and metal workers. In order to learn all the secrets of coin production, Viktor Ivzhenko was sent to Germany to the specialist in Stuttgart. Movert had own workshop where at the time all German coins were born. Ivzhenko had a stress because he had to learn the science only in 3 weeks, which in fact took long years. Responsibility also increased by the fact that he was almost responsible for the future of Kazakhstan's mint. And when Ivzhenko met with a German master, he realized that the problem is complicated by several times because he had to quickly understand the German language full of different terms. He had to force himself to understand, memorize terms, and spend all the nights learning the Russian-German dictionary.
Языковой барьер был, естественно, он имел место.
The language barrier was enormous, but the word stock that I learned at school as I taught the German language yet rescued me.
Он меня немножко не науручал и
I had to carefully prepare for each day of our meeting, and I did it.
Каждому дню встречи. Вот, учеба.
The study lasted for 3 weeks.
Вот, в сложных, очень сложных моментах.
Sometimes when I totally did not understand anything, I called to my school friends who lived in Germany. They also helped to translate the complicated words.
Технологическая учеба была. Вот, я звонил, у меня были там друзья, и многие уехали уже к тому моменту в Германию, они были немцами. Когда мне нужно было очень сложную тираду перевести с немецкого на русский, то я пользовался вот услугами вот в таком плане.
Ivzhenko studied the technology of manufacturing first plaster casts. These casts are made by hand and they are several times larger than the usual coins. Copy machine takes an image from them and sends it to stamping tool, which produces the real coins.
Это вот так называемая модель будущей монеты. Вот, например, вот эта точка, это называется 0.
This is a model of the future coin. The difficulty is that the entire volume of an image is required to be cast at the size of 1.5 millimeter.
И вот на площади, вот на высоте этих 1,5 миллиметров нужно полностью слепить то, что ты видишь, и то, что увидит будущий.
There are many subtleties and secrets that are hard to describe in several words, but believe me, at a thickness of 1.5 millimeters, it is very difficult at all to do anything, especially to make more accurate image of the future coin. This is what I learned from Movert.
У моего коллеги Мёберта, который обеспечивал, ему заказывал и берлинский монетный двор, и франкфуртский монетный двор. Вот, и он очень талантливо и очень быстро эти все заказы выполнял.
So Viktor Ivzhenko became the only specialist in Kazakhstan to create a matrix of future coins. Afterwards, he shared his experience gained in Germany with young professionals who came to work on the Kazakhstan mint. The first coins had the cave images of a wolf, a rooster, and a sheep's head. The largest denomination of 20 tenge was produced with a portrait of Al-Farabi. Kazakhstan's mint has unique technologies. For instance, Kazakh masters have developed a special method of using gilding on silver coins. Gold was made matte and non-shiny. In addition, Kazakhstan patented its own invention, tantalum coins.
Вот очень интересная история у нас произошла с первыми штемпелями, которые мы получили из Берлина.
We had a very interesting story with the first stamps which we received from the Berlin Mint.
Удар с усилием в от 100 до 120 тонн.
A pair of stamps which makes the punch with a force of 100 tons can withstand up to 300,000 blows. Then they should be changed.
1000 штук монет. Наши специалисты из Усть-Каменогорска.
This means that 300,000 coins can be made out of the pair of stamps. Our experts from Uсть-Каменогорsk asked the question, how to increase the duration of the life of our stamps?
На знаменитом УМЗ. Это Ульбинск.
This is the Ulba metallurgical plant where a lot of smart people worked during the former Soviet Union.
Головастики бывшего Советского Союза. Они придумали.
They invented the method of amplification stamps by coating their surface with titanium nitride.
Данного металла нитритом титана.
And we have ensured that a pair of stamps began to make 1 million coins instead of 300,000.
Монет вместо 300 тысяч. Когда немцы узнали, они были просто шокированы.
The Germans were shocked that we outperformed them in technology, but it was a fact.
Точности металлических штемпелей, но это был факт.
The National Bank of Kazakhstan constantly improves banknotes and coins, ensuring their maximum security. For example, Kazakhstan first applied the spark element. It cannot be faked. The 5,000th bill, when changing the angle of view, changes color, creating the illusion of volume. And in the quality of coins production, our factory is among the 5 best, along with the mint of Poland, Austria, Canada, and Australia.
Государство, которое освоило и имеет возможность, имеет технологию.
The state that has acquired technology to create its own money and open its own mint automatically joins other highly intellectual powers.
Потому что оно приравнивается по сложности.
Because this process is equivalent in complexity to the production of vehicle motors and the complex technical details. This is very valuable and strategically important.
Чеканки кузовов и так далее, и так далее. Вот такое сравнение можно сделать, имея свой монетный двор и свою банкнотную фабрику.
I'm proud to be a part of this historic moment, and I'm glad to be involved in this field of activity.
Горжусь и рад, что я попал в эту сферу деятельности.
Today, Mendibay Alin is the designer at the National Bank. Agimsali Duzelhanov is the lecturer at the Zhurgenov Art Academy. During 20 years, they have mastered the skill of creating tenge. Now, share it to the students. Viktor Ivzhenko continues to work in his core specialty and also wants to write a memoir. The history of any state includes the history of its own currency, which is introduced only once and is a symbol of independence. Money always reflects the level and degree of development of the country. That is why the concept of dignity of the coins had a double meaning: denomination of money and the status of the state.